fun. I'm Keith Perkins, and I'm standing in front of the new Focus newspaper headquarters on Route 10 East in Parsippany, New Jersey. Tonight, for Video on the Go, we're going to focus, if you will, on the newspaper. It's 3 years of dedication to the community of Parsippany and its new relocation, as I mentioned here, on Route 10 East in Parsippany. Stay tuned because we have some really neat interviews we're going to bring you. Not only the mayor of Parsippany, Mr. Frank Priori, but the publisher, editors, and some writers from Focus. We're going to be speaking to them, so stay tuned. Okay, we're joined now here at the Hop in Parsippany with the mayor of Parsippany, Mr. Frank Priori, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Okay, if you just tell us a little bit about, obviously we're here to honor the Focus, and to tell us Parsippany about what Focus does for Parsippany, how it benefits.
Well, I've always felt that communication with our residents is important, and Focus has become really an ideal method for the townspeople to know more about what's going on in their town. Unlike a lot of weekly papers that become nothing more than a shopper's guide, Focus is giving our residents lots and lots of valuable information about the town. It's also doing something that a lot of the weekly papers haven't, the daily papers haven't been able to do, and that is to give us news about things that might not be important to a daily, like the Little League teams winning, soccer league, what's going on in the local church, because those things traditionally don't sell daily papers. But that doesn't mean it's not important to our residents. Focus has come in and I think filled a very important void in giving our residents access to that kind of information. Also, I think that the whole direction the paper has taken from day one, and that is to be Parsippany's newspaper, has been important. It's also giving our residents, and I'm very glad for this, a lot of good positive news. You know, the dailies are filled with everything about what's wrong, what's not right, whose complaints, but very few people have really zeroed in or focused in, if you will, on what's good about Parsippany, and the Focus paper does that. It's not to say that they won't report something that might not be pleasant, it will, but it also is giving us plenty of good news, and I think that we needed that.
Okay, so it really opens the door and allows Parsippany to perhaps gain a little bit more information that they otherwise wouldn't be able to get.
I mean, a lot of our programs that the town provides aren't necessarily going to be covered by the Daily Record or the Star Ledger, but they're covered in Focus. And for the person who wants to be involved about what's going on in the local PTA, what's going on in local service organizations, they can find this out by referring to Focus. Even something as simple as watching Video on the Go and its programming, that's covered in Focus. You can't get the Daily Record to cover those things, but we're getting that kind of coverage here with this paper. So I'm very happy, very excited about it, and we're entering into, I guess, the third year now, and so the longevity of this paper has been clearly established. Now with the new offices located right here in town, this is also going to take us, I think, many, many years into the future. Certainly has my support.
Okay, so just you have a weekly column, I guess, and you're in Focus. Tell us a little bit about the aims, your goals, what you try and put forth in your column in Focus.
Well, obviously to inform, but it's also not just to say like what's happening in town, what meetings might be occurring, what programs are being started. I believe as a mayor it's important for people to know me. Now, I could spend 10 years of my life, like I have serving as mayor, and get to know a lot of people. But Parsippany isn't a static community. New people move in all the time. I feel as a mayor it's important for them to know about me, know a little bit more what I am as a person. And my column has been able to allow me the opportunity to express some ideas, to give some of my viewpoints about things that are going on, not just in Parsippany, but how they face the country, how they affect the world. Not that I have any more answers than anybody else, but I think sometimes people might be this way or that way about an issue, and maybe I can give the mayor's perspective of how I see things. Hopefully they'll find that useful. So it's been good. It's time-consuming. Takes a lot of effort to write. Sometimes you don't know where the ideas are even going to come from. But things emerge every day, and a new column gets written every week.
You alluded to earlier that a lot of the daily papers in Parsippany really, obviously due to the nature of the news business, really just concentrate on negativity. And really, so the sole purpose really focuses to, I guess, as you said, focus on the positiveness that really exists in the town, in the community.
Well, this is true, and I've always accused the media, for the most part, of dwelling on what I call gloom and doom. No matter what the subject is. I mean, I've always said to the reporters, I feel sometimes if they call up and say, what's the weather like in Parsippany? And you said, oh, it's a beautiful sunny day. They'll say, but we heard from one resident there was a cloud seen over Lake Hiawatha. I mean, I just don't think that's the function of the media. Unfortunately, that has been pretty much the gloom and doom type of approach they've taken, especially in the last 5-6 years. I think that people are fed up with that approach. I think that's why people are turning off their television sets. They're canceling newspaper subscriptions because there's too much dependence on negative reporting to fill up the airways and to fill newspapers. They seem to think people want this, but I've got to tell you, most people I've met want to know more about positive things that are happening. You know, I'll give you a classic example. We have many, many fine men and women who serve in the ambulance squads, they serve in the fire companies, they save lives, they protect property, and you really read about that. But let a fireman just one time get in trouble, and they'll play that story over and over and over again for months at a time. That's not what life's all about. I like to see the positive side of life. So focus helps us.
Right, so focus really allowing Parsippany residents to get a little insight into the positive aspects that are going on in town. And Mayor Frank Priori, thanks for chatting with us tonight.
Thank you.
Okay.
It's a great pleasure to introduce to you the Mayor of Parsippany, Frank Priori. And also to issue a proclamation. This is probably going to be a surprise to Frank Cahill. I don't know he expected me to do a proclamation. Let me say a few things about how I feel about the impact of Focus newspaper here in Parsippany. First of all, our town has been serviced by a number of daily papers for many years, including the Star Ledger, the Daily Record, another the Record, which you might know as the Bergen Record. And after having served 21 years in government, I'm kind of tired of our daily papers because I don't really think that they really put Parsippany in its best possible light. About 3 years ago, the Chamber of Commerce got together with Frank Cahill to give Parsippany its own newspaper. And 3 years later, Focus is an overwhelming success story. I think to a large, you can give him a round of applause, he did a great job. The thing that impressed me was to make a newspaper work in Parsippany, a lot of hard work was going to be required, and have a format that people wanted to read. Well, Frank Cahill put the paper together, sold the ads, did the photography, solicited people to write columns, and put together a winning package. So today, as mayor, I come here to honor Frank, to proclaim today as Frank Cahill Day in Parsippany. The proclamation reads as follows. whereas Frank Cahill has been in the publishing and advertising field since before he was a teenager, when he started as a supervisor of Radford Master Publications in Passaic, New Jersey, and whereas Frank started his newspaper in Nutley, New Jersey when he was 22 years old, and whereas at one point in Frank's life he was publishing 10 newspapers at once, which included 4 college papers, a gossip paper, a Jewish community paper, a block paper, and 3 TV guide books. And whereas Frank's involvement in Parsippany Focus began in October of 1989, when he joined the Parsippany Area Chamber of Commerce, and the first issue was published 1 month later on November 1st, 1989. And whereas Frank has been heavily involved in such civic organizations as the Kiwanis Club of the Greater Parsippany Chapter, Boys and India Foundation, Juvenile Activities Foundation, and Project Graduation. Now, therefore, I give priority to the Township of Parsippany Hills to proclaim September 1992 as Frank Cahill Day here in the Township. Frank, congratulations.
Thank you. Actually, I have a speech, and I'm totally speechless. We look into the history of Focus in a few minutes. We have a few things with the mayor, and he has a very busy schedule tonight, so we have to let him leave. So we're going to cover a few announcements first. About 3 months ago, we started planning this party when we moved to Galleria 10. We had a staff meeting, we over the guest list. The guest list exceeded over 500 people. And we realized one important thing was missing off this guest list, and that was our readers. Cliff, the accountant, quickly said, there's 50,000 people in Parsippany. We can never invite all 50,000 because the hop only holds 294, so how are we going to do this? So our editor, Kathy Haddon, came up with our contest where the readers had to tell us what they thought of Focus. Jeff will read the #1 response of what they thought of Focus.
From the Focus, it says, our mayor is always informative and bright. I enjoy his humor. Mayor, I can't read your writing here. What does it say? I enjoy his humor and envisioned insight. That was written in by Focus reader Joanne Steiger. Where is Joanne? She didn't make it? And the plaque says the staff of Parsippany Focus acknowledges the support of Mayor Frank B. Priori in making Focus Parsippany's newspaper. Frank L. Cahill, publisher.
The next award is going to go out to a very special person. She is someone that I personally work with sometimes on a daily basis, weekly, bi-weekly. But anytime I need information about Parsippany, I call her and she always has the answer. Lori, where are you?
Here she is. Turn around.
Thank you, Laura. We appreciate it. Okay, we're going to go back to the beginning where we were supposed to start, and we actually skipped over. I have to introduce somebody special in my life. That's Linda. Linda? Joan is the sales manager for Governor Morrison. She joins us tonight in helping me with the first few awards. Before Focus ever existed, the first phone call I received from a Parsippany person was Tina Bitter. Tina was involved with the Parsippany Area Chamber of Commerce, and she called me and said, how would you like to start a newspaper? My first response was, no, Tina. She called me again, and again, and again, and again. She finally convinced me to at least talk to the Publications Committee. Tina, where are you? The next award goes out to the Parsippany Area Chamber of Commerce for the support they have given in publishing the paper, the support every time I need information about a member. Anything that goes in about the chamber comes through Pat Foot. Pat?
Turn it so they can see it. Turn it so they can see the flag.
Monthly newspaper until June of '91, which we became weekly. We are a small local community newspaper. We care about the happenings of the town, the positive news, the school news, sports, etc. And that's what people want to read about. They want to hear themselves in the paper.
The many awards that we saw inside are giving out to advertisers. Can you attribute some of your success to them? How much credit?
The advertisers, of course, made Focus possible because they're one that pays to have Focus put out. If we didn't have advertising, we could not afford to put Focus out. The advertisers with any newspaper or any media, if we do not produce results for them, they're not going to advertise with us. Since we have a very good readership, people shop our advertisers, they get results, they're happy, and they become consistent advertisers and advertise week in and week out.
Okay, you look at any successful organization, and you have to look at the base, the person that's responsible for it. Usually they have a large calling as to why they were successful. You have come from a big media background. Can you tell us about that?
Well, I started out working in this industry before I was a teenager, working for Today newspapers or the Matzner publication. I was in the circulation end of it, so that's where I got my experience from circulation. When I was 19, I worked for Always Advertising or Telepages, and I worked for them for 1 million copies of their publication, got more circulation experience. Then I started typesetting business located in Clifton, typesetting up to 1.10 newspapers per week for various other publishers. That got me into the graphic design of the publication and the formats. Then we created the own newspaper through the chamber.
Okay, how do you see yourself in competition with the Daily Record and the other newspapers? How do you see yourself in the publishing scheme in Parsippany?
As we're told, we have no competition, but everybody has competition. We follow what all the other newspapers do, just like they follow what we do. We're different from them because we are a hometown community newspaper. For instance, Daily Record, they cover all Morris County. They can't cover an event like we can because we're concerned about Parsippany. They have to be concerned about Morris County. So when they cover an event, it's on a Morris County level, not on a local level. So we'll go to the PTA meetings and we'll cover stuff like that where they will not.
Okay, and where's Focus heading down the road?
Well, we just became the approved for second-class mailing privileges, which was the hardest step to get over. It took 1.5 years to get the approval. We're going to increase our paid circulation, that give our paid readership more of a newspaper than our free newspaper. And we are going to expand to a few towns in the area to build up our circulation out of Parsippany, but we still will be Parsippany's newspaper. It'll always be Parsippany Focus. The other towns will have another version of Focus, not Parsippany Focus.
Okay, Frank Cahill, the publisher of Focus newspaper, thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you. The next person goes to the magazine who is president of the Parsippany
editorial content. For a newspaper of this type, this is very abnormal. Most newspapers of this type have less than 25% editorial. Focus is very proud of this fact. We make sure every issue of Parsippany Focus has enough editorial content to make it an interesting and worthwhile reading experience. This award goes to County College of Morris, who supplies Focus with press releases on all events such as plays, concerts, public speeches, as well as regularly advertising in all of its campaigns. County College of Morris.
This year, Parsippany Focus got started with the CCM program of students where we train students on staff and they earn college credit for working with Parsippany Focus. We have 3 students this semester. Donna? Rick? The other two students are actually studying right now, so they can come to work tomorrow and type up the full dates that Barry's going to tell today. Also in our audience is Arlene Love. Why don't you come up, Arlene, and accept your award for CCM.
Pace has been a loyal advertiser to Parsippany Focus and is also a contributor of editorial content.
Turn the award so they can see it.